Activision has started the DMCA and requests removal of Call of Duty related content in Fortnite creator mode. They're so scared. It's so funny. The fact we were able to go and remake this stuff immediately, even in its most scuffed earliest states, hilarious to me. They're so scared. Season 3 key art. We get Alejandro and Valeria. People have been wanting Valeria for a long time, ever since she showed up in the story, but everything takes like forever in this, so. Yeah, so anyway, on top of that, that's coming with Season 3. Another thing coming in Season 3, along with those operators, are obviously new weapons. They do this every single time. But now they're pulling out all the stops. The game may be in the gutter, but hey, guess what? We're bringing back the most iconic sniper rifle of all time. Huh? Please come back. They are adding the intervention. Even people that don't even play Call of Duty have likely recognized or seen this weapon and heard the weapon's sound effect.
You guys are fucking pussies. Everybody.
You guys don't play video games often or something? You guys are like ding-dong ditching in a video game or some shit. Hey dude, watch this. Get on the microphone. You suck. Say something rude into the microphone, man. Come on. Dirty actually was one of, if not the only sole person that was flown out to go and test this thing. He got his own gameplay. It's up on his channel, by the way. Go and check out Dirty's channel, Phase Dirty. Or just like search up MW2 intervention. I'm sure his video will pop up. So he got to feel the weapon, and just from the looks of the weapon in general, it looks pretty good. Now, given it's the intervention on Modern Warfare 2, they have remade the intervention before. They made the intervention on Infinite Warfare, and they made it incredibly weak. It doesn't seem to be the case with it this time around. So I might actually go and grind the Orion intervention out like really fast as soon as it comes out. Get it done in a couple hours, make a video on it. It'll look really good. Apparently UFC 5 is supposed to come out sometime this year. Oh man, please be good. Straight up though, I'm still pretty worried that you're not going to be able to recreate Ricochet in there properly. If it doesn't look like him, I'm not even going to bother. I'll just, you know, use whatever character or even just make my own. I'll still at the very least do like a career or whatever. I had contemplated like going back and making a thing. I never followed up on it. It's probably too late now. I know that some people will be like, oh, I want to see that anyway, but I want to do it on like a newer, more fresh game that people are even aware is like content is even being made on it. But I wanted to have a series where I had like an entire career mode where my character just had like no knockout power at all. It would be like an entire series, like a storyline I built where Ricochet ended up losing all of his knockout power, and then he had to like regain it all back in the process or something like that. Like we just won't dump any of his points at all throughout his entire career, win the belt, then once he wins the belt or something, we dump all the points into power. I don't know, it would just, the storyline don't have it completely fledged out, but I have so many ideas for the new UFC, just, you know, when it's actually fresh and exciting. Yeah, I'd realized in hardcore, the barrels make a massive difference. Like, in my head, I didn't think putting a barrel on my weapon would make a massive difference in terms of, like, overall damage. Every time I lose any kind of damage range at all, or even don't improve the damage range, I swear I just get way more hit markers. When I put one of these bigger barrels on with some mobility and stuff, much better. That wasn't always the case. Before, you would be able to just, like, build your weapon super fast. It was hardcore, and it didn't really seem to do much. But on here, the way that the damage ranges and the fall off and stuff works, this has just worked out for me. No. So I'm doing the TAC 56 at the moment. I'm not just sweating in hardcore shipment. Finish out the M4 was much better once I ended up putting a different barrel on it, and then just everything else is faster. Kastov, I'm probably just gonna do the same thing with like all of them. I think the last AR is here at the Kastov, and then the last SMG is what? I think the Baz P is DLC, right? Oh, also, the game has gotten more stable, so I was able to mess with my overclocks a little bit. This entire time, I wasn't overclocked. I just had pretty high fan speed. I'm usually at almost like 2,800 megahertz. With the overclock, I'm like around like 2,900. Usually, I get like 100 megahertz out of it. Just got a curve. Dirty got some nice gameplay too. I think he was playing against the devs. He got this one clip in there. Ooh, throwing the stylish no-scopes in there just cuz. I mean, you'll look real stupid when you miss, but when you land, throwing spinning tornado kicks in MMA, really. It's just like, I mean, if it lands, I'm a legend. Ooh, speaking of spinning shit, apparently Wonderboy is fighting Michel Pereira. And if anyone knows who Michel Pereira is, he's high-flying, super unorthodox, super unpredictable, high-energy striker. The guy literally fights like a Tekken character. Insanely risky, doesn't always work out, but holy shit is it fun to watch. Him versus Wonderboy is gonna be beautiful. The amount of crazy like counters and timing and spins, and that's gonna be a great fight. A weird bug has happened recently since one of the updates where this screen right here just doesn't load. It just stays just completely blank with the logo on the bottom. Now, the thing will come up if I like open up some of these other things. Sometimes, maybe not. Yeah, never mind. It's not loading any picture at all. Now, with them bringing back the intervention, is that gonna make more people play? I mean, maybe for a little bit, but it ain't gonna keep them on the game, you know what I mean? I don't think you could add any weapon that would really do that. People are more angry about like feeling and movement and just fun of moving around in the game. Freedom. You know, here's a better question. If they added slide canceling, like straight up, they just dropped an update today, like right now. Everyone went back, updated and everything, and then out of nowhere, everyone can slide cancel again. It's not a bug. They go and tweet out, here's slide canceling, it's back. Would that make the numbers of the game actually go up and then stay up? Or would it have a similar effect of just adding a new weapon and then everybody is just bored of it and it's already too late? Given, I'm sure that they moved on, you know, themselves. Most of the time it seems that way anyway. As soon as a game releases, about 2 months later, they're already on to the next one. The efforts are into the next one. If this one goes under, oh well, we got the next one coming up. That's just how the whole thing works. And that's one of the points that a lot of people were trying to press to me when I made that one Call of Duty is losing video. They were like, yeah, but they would never do any of the stuff that you're suggesting. And it's not just them being stupid. That's literally their design. They're just straight up built to create and kill their games over and over and over again. That is literally their business model. They are not trying to make a bunch of successful living games all in one ecosystem. They plan for the ecosystems to die purposefully. And that's not like some insane 5-head design either, because all it takes is an actual competitor to come along. And hey, I'm just gonna say it, I've been having fun on Battlefield. Even when I do make another Battlefield 2042 video, which I feel like I'm probably gonna do soon, I think I'm gonna immediately say, I didn't think I would say this, but one thing that Battlefield has over Call of Duty for the longest time, you know, comparing them, it was just kind of silly, and it still is to this day. One way you can compare it is the way that the matchmaking works in the game. Even if you're not even using the server browser, because the lobbies stick together, because it's a larger player, the way Battlefield is designed, the skill-based matchmaking in Battlefield is really reminiscent of old Call of Duty. When I'm playing it, I feel like half of the players that I'm playing against don't really know exactly what they're doing, but there are multiple great players on the other team that do know what they're doing. So you watch out for them. And then you spend the game having like these little rivalries, trading kills back and forth with those players. And I don't know, man, it was just part of the whole experience. I was getting that in Battlefield. I genuinely might have started to forget how that feeling went just playing Call of Duty. Because really the whole idea of the SBMM system is to pretty much gaslight you into believing that this is just how it's always been. And there are people out there that argue and talk about skill-based matchmaking all the time. They say it's always been there, it's always been this way. Go back to Battlefield 2042 and you'll see, man. There is a clear difference and it's just so disingenuous. Sure, it's been there, but you're saying it in this like quote technically way. Maybe it's just bound by me wording it incorrectly. Maybe I'm just not articulating myself correctly, but you can feel it. You won't even need my words. You can feel it. Go and play Battlefield 2042, stay in a lobby, play multiple rounds. The lobbies don't disband. People join and people leave all the time. It's just shifting in and out. Game will immediately get you into a match, so long as the game mode itself isn't dead. I ain't gonna sit here and act like Battlefield 2042's popping. But the game actually is in a much better state than it was. The game is still super heavy, don't get me wrong. I'm running the game on like max graphics and everything, but it looks gorgeous. Super heavy still though, but the gunplay feels great. Always felt a little bit clunky in comparison to Call of Duty, and I'll still say that it still does, but they still allow you to slide cancel in the game without making it feel like you got bricks on your feet. And one of the big things that bothered me about Battlefield is that when you like jumped and shot, it was like impossible to hit people, or more or less, it was super, super ugly. Whenever you were jumping and shooting in the game, you had a penalty with it. They added that same penalty into this Call of Duty. So now it's just like moving over to Battlefield feels even more natural. Ricochet anti-cheat update. It can now detect users using controllers with Cronus software in MW2 and Warzone 2. This is a warning message. You'll see if you're detected. Unsupported device warning. Your account utilized an unsupporting external hardware device to interact with the game. Now, I'm going to assume it says further use of this unsupported device will result in suspensions or whatever. I mean, I don't know how big of an issue Cronuses were, to be honest with you. I mean, I know a lot of people like to think that a lot of these streamers, like the actual big streamers, are actually cheating and shit, but genuinely, people like Swag, for example, they don't need to. They've literally been good at the game before Cronuses even existed. Like, it's silly. You can tell anyone that believes that kind of shit, like, only recently got into this stuff within the past, like, 4 or 5 years. They're just inexperienced. They don't really know anything. Man, all this talk about Battlefield makes me want to go play Battlefield, but one thing that came to mind, these UFC games are made by EA, right? And if we go and look at all of the other EA games that they make, year over year anyway, now given the UFC ones are a little bit more spread out, there's a possibility that they're pretty much not really going to change that much from UFC 2 to UFC 3 to UFC 4. Yeah, there are things that are different, but generally, like, looking at the game, outside of, like, the knockout animations and other small things like that, clearly UFC 4 or looks a lot better in the way that it plays, but there's also like the different feelings and stuff that are kind of mixed. But if we go by EA standards, they pretty much copy paste the same exact game. And if they copy and paste the same game, it's likely that they'll copy and paste the same created character system, which means we should be able to keep it accurate for Requise. At the end of the day, I don't really care. I'm gonna play the shit out of UFC 5. I don't even care if I'm using Requise at that point. I'd like to actually get like very good at these games. Like I could beat people that don't really know what they're doing, you know what I mean? But once you run into somebody that actually, you know, plays the game, oh yeah, that's where the fights get really, really interesting. I will just sit around all day and just beat up on people that have no idea what they're doing. I mean, if they're facing Requise, it won't matter if they're blocking, if they're dodging, or what. They're gonna get damaged by the swing. They're gonna get damaged by the air around his punches. It's just, I don't even need to go into an explanation there. I'm excited for that though. Intervention is coming like next week, and obviously a couple other things along with the map. The map actually doesn't look bad. Yeah, actually pretty good update. Go and check that video out on Dirty's channel.